Hey guys, Soika, welcome back to Danganronpa 2. Goodbye, Despair. Let's carry on where we left off. It's almost trial time for one of the most bizarre, exciting, and craziest chapters of this game. Nagito Komaeda, no longer with us. It's time to figure out how he died, who did it, and why. Here we go.
Yep.
You're right. We need to fight as much as we can, no matter what hopeless truth awaits us in the end. Like I said, man, I don't want any more executions. No more! What's happened? This is the end. I kept saying those words to myself over and over within my mind. I entered Monokuma Rock. And we've got so many revelations as well. Byakuya was an imposter? Look at this elevator, it's so sad. This elevator ride. This will be the last time for this too, right? I hope so.
Well?
Let's worry about things after we're finished.
You are right.
More importantly, we must focus on the class trial before us. It's gonna be tough without Nagito's help.
Damn it.
The killer managed to kill someone like Nagito? There's no way this is going to go smoothly. I mean, I still can't believe one of us was able to do that. Nagito was problematic in many ways, but he was also a valuable asset during the trials. Yeah, you're right. In fact, during the Funhouse ordeal, we were completely dependent on him. But even if he's gone, the ones who've survived need to stand and fight. We must fight. And then, the door slowly opened. This bright light greeting us. It's not a good sign. Is that the light of hope? Or the light of despair? Whoa.
Well now.
Now that chatterbox Nagito is gone, there are only 6 of you left.
Shut the hell up!
Enough! Just fucking start this already.
Hey!
Hey, this is it, right? This is really the last class trial, right?
Yep.
Yep, it sure is. So, you gotta show some enthusiasm and make sure you give it your all.
Alright!
Didn't I tell you? He said it. This is the end.
Now then.
Let's get this trial started.
Viva killing!
This is the last class trial. Let's show some enthusiasm and kill each other. What? No. This is the 5th class trial. According to Monokuma, this is also the last class trial. That curtain is about to rise. Nagito Komaeda, the ultimate lucky student. When I first met him, I thought he was a nice guy. He came across as very sociable. But his true nature held such a demented thought process that was nothing like his outward appearance. He said he believed in hope more than anything else. He said he was yearning for a powerful hope that can overcome any despair. He said he would even help despair just to prove that hope will never lose to despair. And he said he'd become a stepping stone for hope. His way of thinking was completely screwed up. But there were also times he saved us too. Someone like him was killed. That was the end of him. And I have no idea at all who did it. But the fact is, he's dead and someone killed him. There's no way we can end this without knowing. We will be consumed by despair. That's why we absolutely have to find out. The person who finished off Nagito. The killer who murdered Nagito. In order to return from this despair alive, we need to reach the truth. And if Monokuma says this is really the last class trial, that's all the more reason we need to do this. But we're not supposed to leave this island, I don't think. We have to stay here. And so, this life-threatening trial, billowing with hope and despair, the last one, has begun. Here we go, Case 5 Court Prep. The trickster, Nagito, was brutally murdered. His unpredictable death has left a looming shadow of mystery in the hearts of Hajime and the others. Who is the traitor? What was the clue Nagito left? Will they be able to see the light within the darkness between hope and despair? I don't freaking know! Let's set the skills, be right back. Jokes, I was only able to set one skill, and that was Moonsault, increases jumping power, because it only costs 2 points. That's all I had left, and I can't use Chiaki's one because it conflicts with Gundam's one, Infinity Unlimited Flame, but I'm going to keep that in memory of our fallen comrade. Anyway, it's time to review the truth bullets. Let's begin. Here we go. Monokuma file number 5. The victim is Nagito Komaeda. The body was discovered inside the warehouse near the Monokuma plushie factory. The estimated time of death is believed to be noon sharp. Not only is there a spear stabbed in his stomach, there are multiple stab wounds on each of his thighs. Furthermore, there is a laceration on his left arm and a knife impaled through his right hand. Torture wounds. Both of Nagito's legs were tied with rope, and each rope was tied to nearby pillars, which prevented him from moving. His thighs were also covered with a lot of stab wounds. Burned rope. The rope that was tied to Nagito's right arm burned off. However, Nagito's right sleeve still looked clean. Survival knife. A survival knife that was stabbed into Nagito's right hand. The knife is from the military base. It's safe to assume that the wounds on Nagito's legs and left arm were caused by this knife. Blood on left hand. Blood was splattered on the palm of Nagito's left hand. For some reason, the splatter cuts off in the middle of his palm. Also, the back of his left hand has an unnatural bloodstain that's only above the middle joints of his fingers. Duct tape. Nagito's mouth was covered with duct tape. However, the blood that splattered onto his face wasn't under the duct tape. The tape itself had a lot of crinkles in it, as if Nagito was desperately moving his mouth underneath it. And a lot of these truth bullets have to do with the body itself, doesn't it? Spear of Gungnir. The spear impaled through Nagito's stomach. A cord with an iron weight at the end of it extends from the back of the handle. For some reason, only the section where the cord and weight touch is bloody. Monokuma plushie, a life-size Monokuma plushie that was found on the floor near the fire's origin point. It has a huge bloody hole in its stomach, as if it was stabbed. Blood on girder. A faint red line was on the ceiling girder inside the goods warehouse. Monokuma panels. A lot of tipped over Monokuma panels were scattered around the goods warehouse. In one area, the panels seemed to be laying on top of each other in a straight, orderly line. Oil lighter. Found at the fire's origin point. It looks like this is what caused the fire. MP3 player. An MP3 player that comes with speakers. The music that was blaring throughout the warehouse when Hajime and the others arrived was coming from this. Sonia's account. Sonia secretly used one of the bombs from the military base at the ancient ruins and found out that the bombs were fake. At the time, Monomi was apparently peeking at the whole thing. Monokuma's account. Monokuma knew all along that the bombs were fake. However, he apparently never revealed that fact to anyone. So not even Nagito. Monomi's notebook. The diary that Monomi updated every day. Or did she? According to Monokuma, Monomi can't write. Gas mask and gloves. These were hidden at Nagito's cottage under his bed. Piece of blue paper. Found at Nagito's cottage under his bed. It's a round, thin piece of aluminium paper. Monokuma's special poison. Poison found inside the refrigerator at Nagito's cottage. The warning label on the back of the bottle states, "This enchanted liquid is highly potent and takes effect immediately. Please handle with care. Though its volatility is low, this liquid is very dangerous when vaporized. In a gaseous state, it is heavier than air, it breaks down in minutes, and it is susceptible to hydrolysis." I don't know what that is, but it sounds something to do with water, I guess. Hydro, right? So it is possible for you to poison someone to death without any complications. Keep this liquid secure by storing it in a cool place in a glass or plastic container away from sunlight. Hope Speak Academy file. This is the big one. This is the doozy. This file contains the Hope Speak Academy student profiles for all 16 students participating in the school trip. Due to the fact that Monokuma forged the traitor's profile, looking at this won't help identify who the traitor is. That's it. That's all the truth bullets we have. It doesn't feel like there's much information in here, is there? Especially since a lot of it has to do with Nagito's corpse itself. I have no idea who the killer is. There's surely not a killer among us. This has got to be a trick. Monokuma or Nagito must have planned this. I don't know what's up, though. We're out of time. We're out of hope. It's time to debate and find the truth. Here we go, guys. This is so exciting. We're just gonna have to wing it like we always do.
Now then, let's begin with a simple explanation of the class trial. During the class trial, you will present your arguments for who the killer is and vote for who done it.
Monomi isn't tied up anymore.
If you vote correctly, then only the blackened will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong person...
Some of these crosses on the profiles are different. Gundam's is different. Nagito's is a bit more messy.
I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and that person will earn the right to leave this island.
What are we gonna find out in this trial?
Oh my! Monami? My cute little sister? You're awfully quiet. What's happened to you?
She did say she was gonna help us fight this time, didn't she?
You've ascended the ladder of adulthood and reached the moon? Because you're a rabbit?
She's had enough of his shit.
Chesto!
He's still abusing her. She ain't moving though.
One more time!
Ooh, she's defying him, I love it.
Jeez! How about this one? This will be my final blow!
She's not giving up.
It's useless.
Please stop! I feel bad for Monomi.
You're right. Now's not the time for me to horse around with Monami. The class trial has started, after all.
Exactly.
The victim this time is Nagito, who is attempting to reveal the traitor for everyone's sake. Who in the world killed him? I'm so curious.
Was it you? Did he ever uncover who the traitor was? He said he did, but he likes to lie a lot, doesn't he?
If he was killed for trying to reveal the traitor,
Then you'd suspect the traitor is the one responsible, right?
that traitor is obviously the killer. They were trying to shut Nagito up.
No, that might not be it.
Really, Kazuichi?
Huh? Are you trying to protect the traitor? They didn't call out when we were in danger. Wait. Don't tell me you're the traitor.
Oh god, here we go.
Don't say something so stupid! There's no way in hell I'm the traitor!
Now that's more like it. Why don't you guys hurry and start arguing already?
I'm so tense. Come on, Hajime, let's do this. We can work this out. The traitor and the killer who murdered Nagito is here, right? But are they one and the same? Are they the same person? Or... Ooh. Straight into the heavy questions. 5, 6, 7.
The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up! I'm telling you, they were torturing him!
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito!
I mean, it looks
So
like it,
that's
right?
why he was so beat up.
I can't contradict that.
What were they trying to find out by torturing him? Definitely the bomb's hiding place. If so, the suspect is whoever found the bomb first.
Can't be.
That was Fuyuhiko!
I found it by coincidence. There's no way I'd torture someone.
You're a Yakuza, you know. Why did the killer have to torture Nagito? No. Were the wounds on Nagito's body really caused by torture in the first place? Shit.
The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up! I'm telling you, they were torturing him!
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
I'm already stuck.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito!
So he wasn't tortured then? Hang on, let's review our truth bullets one more time. Both of Nagito's legs were tied with rope, and each rope was tied to nearby pillars, which prevented him from moving. His thighs were also covered with a lot of stab wounds.
So that's why he was so beat up. What were they trying to find out by torturing him? Definitely the bomb's hiding place.
No, he was tortured
If
right
so,
next to where the bomb
the
was.
suspect is whoever found the bomb first.
That was Fuyuhiko!
I found it by coincidence.
Seriously, this is tough already. I can't even get
There's
the first
no way
freaking
I'd torture
debate
someone.
right. Survival knife. Let's look at this. Survival knife that was stabbed into Nagito's right hand, a knife from the military base. It's safe to assume that they were caused from that knife. We've got the plushie as well, don't we? A life-size Monokuma plushie that was found on the floor near the fire's origin point has this huge bloody hole in its stomach as if it was stabbed. We've got the lighter. Where's that? Here it is. Found at the fire's origin point. It looks like this is what caused the fire. Why did the killer have to torture Nagito? No. Were the wounds on Nagito's body really caused by torture in the first place?
The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up! I'm telling you, they were torturing him!
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
Is that why? Ugh.
So that's why he was...
Got the duct tape. He was desperately moving his mouth underneath it. If you were torturing him, why would you tape his mouth shut?
What were they trying to find out by torturing? Definitely the bomb's hiding. If so, is whoever found the bomb...
That was Fuyu.
I think I have to counter
There's no way I'd
Kazuichi
torture
here.
someone.
Let's try it.
Killer didn't tape. I'm telling you, they were tortured.
The reason Nagito's body was covered...
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
Yes.
No, that's wrong.
He can't talk if his mouth's taped shut, right? Okay, good. Phew.
But
Eventually.
Nagito's mouth was covered with duct tape, so he wouldn't have been able to confess anything.
I need to really turn up my logic here. Sorry.
If he was being tortured for information, they wouldn't have taped his mouth like that.
I'm prepared.
Oh, really? Jeez. We're not messing around anymore.
Ah, I just realized it. It's a trap.
Trap?
Stupid Hajime. You got caught in that trap.
You're calling me stupid? Stupid? Bring it on. Don't make me embarrass you in front of Sonia again. Okay, what are we gonna go with here? Suppose we'll find out in a moment. Let's try duct tape for now.
Like you said, if Nagito's mouth was taped shut, you obviously assume he couldn't talk, right? But that was the trap. He wanted to hide the fact that he got interrogated.
I can't back down.
What the heck are you talking about? Absolutely not.
But if you tape his mouth shut, how is he supposed to answer anything?
He can't even do sign language, his arms are tied up.
Pay attention. This is how it went down. First, the killer tortured Nagito and got information about the bomb's location. Then, after they killed him, they duct taped his mouth shut.
No, shit. Hajime, you idiot! What are you even saying? Are you trying to rebut me with that?
Crap!
I won't be able to cut through Kazuichi's rebuttal with this. Think it over one more time.
Pay
Sorry.
attention. This is how it went down. First, the killer tortured Nagito.
I underestimated
and
you.
got information about the bomb's location. Then, after they killed him, they duct taped his mouth shut. Whew, that was close, you guys. Thanks to me, you guys didn't get caught in the trap.
Yeah, right. They taped Nagito's mouth after getting information from him? True, that sounds reasonable. But that clearly contradicts the truth. If he had listened to me until the very end, I wouldn't have to go to the trouble of repeating myself.
Pay attention. This is how it went down. First, the killer tortured Nagito and got information about the bomb's location. Then, after they killed...
I'm pretty sure I'm right with the duct tape. I just need to figure out which one I need to cut through, right?
They duct taped his mouth shut.
No, that's the same one I freaking tried. Ugh.
Pay
so
attention.
stupid.
This is how it went. First, the killer tortured Nagito and got information about the bomb's location. Then, after they killed him, they duct taped his mouth shut. Whew, that was close, you guys. Thanks to me, you guys didn't get caught in the trap.
Oops.
Pay attention. This is how it went. First, the killer tortured Nagito and got information about the bomb's location. Then, after they killed him,
There we
Allow
go.
me to cut through those words.
Was the second one. My bad. Jeez.
No. There's no doubt Nagito's mouth was covered with duct tape before he was beat up.
We can't keep making mistakes like this. Let's get back on track.
what did you say?
There was no blood around his mouth, so clearly the tape was on his mouth the entire time.
Who cares about the duct tape? We might as well settle this with rock, paper, scissors.
All come did last, like last time.
We don't need to play a game. It's clear the duct tape was on his mouth before the torture even began.
Why do you always side with Hajime? Do you have a crush on him or something?
Let's carry on. Are you in elementary school or something?
You were with us when I peeled the duct tape off Nagito's mouth, right?
She's just smarter than you, okay, Kazuichi? That's okay.
The blood on Nagito's face wasn't under the duct tape, remember?
It would have acted as a shield.
The blood on his face came from his arm wounds,
The blood's all over the duct tape itself as well.
which means the duct tape was on his face before his arms were even wounded.
And the duct tape had a lot of crinkles around his mouth. He must have been struggling to open his mouth under the duct tape.
But that's only natural. When you're getting stabbed a bunch of times, your natural reaction is to scream out in pain.
Perhaps the duct tape was used so we wouldn't be able to scream.
It doesn't have to be for help, it's just agony.
Then it's like I said at the beginning. The tape wasn't for torture. It was to keep his mouth shut.
However, if they wanted to seal his mouth, they did not need to hurt him with such ferocity.
They probably had a deep grudge against Nagito.
I think it goes more than that.
Then, are you saying the killer was trying to make him suffer?
It seems a bit much, don't you think?
If so, it's friggin' crazy. Did they go psycho or something?
No, they didn't just go crazy. Whoever did this must be one crafty bastard. If not, they wouldn't have taken the time to set fire to the crime scene and destroy all the evidence.
The warehouse fire was for destroying evidence?
What else would it be for, apart from poisoning him?
We can't think of any other reason.
But who could have done that?
Maybe those wounds were done after the fact. But we were all together, right?
When the fire occurred, everyone in this room was gathered in front of the warehouse.
Yeah. And right after I opened the warehouse door, the flames started burning from the very back.
Which means, it is plausible to think that nobody here set the fire.
The killer isn't one of us. But that's not the case, huh? I mean, it's wishful thinking.
It is, it feels like, but surely not. Surely none of us killed him. The fire had to have been a trap. The oil lighter, right? It stays lit even after it's been dropped on the floor, for example.
Even if it was only a coincidence, the timing was just too perfect.
How did he die at exactly noon?
Based on the pattern up until now, we should suspect that some kind of setup was used for this.
Some kind of setup? Like what?
I do not know that, but that has been the pattern before.
The killer always seems to have an alibi, even when they shouldn't have.
That's our Miss Sonia. You have such an amazingly high intellect.
Unlike you, my friend. Nothing against you, Kazuichi. It's just, you know, someone's gotta be at the bottom.
Alrighty then. Let's think about this based on what Miss Sonia thinks. Is that okay, Miss Sonia?
Damn right it is!
Okay. The reason for the fire, huh? They're right. We need to clear that up first. Okay. Let's see if we can get this right. Properly. Let's start with the lighter.
The direct cause of the fire was the oil lighter found at the crime scene, right?
Feels like it.
The killer used some kind of setup. He lit the curtain on fire with the lighter.
Some kind of setup?
Did they use the oil as an improvised fuse?
They probably just threw the lighter.
Based on the shape of that oil lighter, it can stand upright while the flame is lit.
If they tipped over the lighter in some way, it could have ignited the curtain.
Some way?
Maybe they used invisible thread.
There should have been a way to tip it over with sound waves.
Or perhaps opening the door caused intense wind pressure to tip over the lighter.
Some kind of setup was used to start that fire. So what could it be?
The
The
direct
Monokuma
cause
panels-
of the fire was
The front ones were all burned up.
the oil lighter found at the crime scene.
The killer used some
We have to assume it was tipped over
Some
with the
kind of setup?
panels.
Did they use the oil as...
They probably just threw the
Based on the shape, it can stand upright while...
If they
This is such
tipped
a
over
long
the light,
debate.
it could have ignited.
Some way?
Maybe they used invisible
There should have been a way to tip it over with sound waves.
Not sound waves.
Or perhaps opening the door caused...
I agree with that.
There we go. Because those front panels were burnt to a crisp.
I also agree that opening the door is what started the fire.
It's the only logical thing, right?
Just as I thought, it was the wind pressure! A dust devil blown here from glorious Japan!
I should have stopped you before you continued your theory.
No, not wind pressure. They probably used the Monokuma panels. A huge number of tipped-over Monokuma panels were found at the crime scene, right? Mm-hmm. It looked like they were scattered everywhere, but some were laying on top of each other in a single line.
Yeah,
Just a single line leading from the warehouse door to the fire's origin.
like Domino's.
Does that mean anything?
Not the pizza, actual Domino's.
The killer probably arranged those Monokuma panels to create a domino effect.
See, Hajime's onto it.
A domino effect. You mean those tiles kids play with by lining them up and tipping them over?
Exactly like that.
In place of those tiles, the killer used the Monokuma panels. So when we opened the warehouse door, the first panel toppled into the second.
Who made this diagram? Let's study it for a bit. There's the MP3 player, there's the panels leading to the lighter, which is where the curtain is. There's a Monokuma plushie behind it that's already been stabbed. Nagito's there tied to some pillars, but there's one pillar there that the rope was burned off. Yet he's quite a considerable amount of distance away from that fire, isn't he?
And from there, they fell like dominoes until they reached the lighter at the end.
But wouldn't it be obvious that those big panels were falling over?
That's probably why they turned off the lights in the warehouse, so we wouldn't notice them.
Monokuma only turned the lights on after we went back inside. That's right.
So the reason the warehouse was dark was to hide the domino effect.
And one more thing. There was something else the killer did to hide the domino effect, right?
Scatter some other panels around? The killer did one other thing to hide the domino effect. Really? Okay. What did they do? You put me on the spot, why don't you? Hang on. Let's make sure we review this properly. In one area, the panels seem to be laying on top of each other in a straight, orderly line. The killer did one other thing to hide the domino effect. What was that? I don't quite know what Chiaki's trying to direct us toward. They did one other thing to hide the domino effect?
Crap!
Oops. What? What did they do? The MP3 player?
I see!
Oh, we couldn't hear
talking
it.
about the MP3 player, right?
Obviously. We can't hear them tipping over with that music blasting so loud.
That hymn blaring throughout the warehouse masked the sound of the falling panels.
Obviously. Come on, man. Seriously. I wish I was smarter. The inside of the warehouse felt even darker because our eyes were still used to the bright sunlight outside. Within that darkness, a loud hymnal blared throughout the warehouse at full volume. Hey, do you guys hear something? Yeah, it's really damn loud. Does Nagito like listening to this depressing crap? No, I'm not talking about the music. So Akane did hear the dominoes fall, or the panels, and as if on cue, it suddenly started.
That's it. So the strange sound was actually the sound of the panels falling.
But those sounds weren't the only strange thing, right? Looking back on it, it was also strange when we opened the door to the warehouse.
Everything's strange. It's fine, I'll open it slowly. No, that's not the problem. Seriously, it'll be fine. With those words, Akane brushed off everyone's warnings and slowly opened the door to the warehouse. Huh? It's not opening? Is there something blocking the door? I can barely open it. Oh, I knew it! It's a trap! Seriously, just stop it, okay? Didn't I tell you it'll be fine? I just gotta use a little more force. What happened to opening it slowly? Akane ignored their protests, and with a mighty kick, the door flew open.
Ah, so the door was being blocked by a Monokuma panel.
Okay, yeah, I figured that out already.
And when we opened the door, the domino effect started, and the falling panels eventually reached the lighter.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's how the warehouse caught on fire. At least, that's how it looks.
You don't look so sure.
At the time, Akane mentioned that she could barely open the door.
Because the panel was blocking it, right?
But the blocked doorway, there wasn't enough space for a person to fit through, right?
So how did they get out of the warehouse?
Is that a problem?
It's a major problem. I mean, that door was the only entrance to the warehouse.
Have we got a locked room problem, guys? If that door was the only entrance to the warehouse, I see. So the problem Chiaki's talking about is... we couldn't take any merch. Oh, the horror.
I see!
If the panel was so close to the door that it could barely be opened,
They couldn't have left the premises.
the killer inside the warehouse wouldn't be able to leave, right?
Now that you mention it.
Does that mean they were hiding inside?
No, because if they were hiding inside, and we were all outside, then that only leaves one possibility.
Who? We were all outside the warehouse, you know.
Based on the patterns up until now, I believe some kind of setup was used.
You've said that already, but how do you set this one up?
You don't have to think so hard. There's actually only one person who could have possibly done this.
Exactly. Huh?
You don't mean...
But if that's true, this murder?
Hajime? What do you mean?
What do you think I mean? The person who set up the domino effect inside the warehouse? There's only one person who could have done that. Here he is.
This is my answer! What if it was Nagito?
Why'd you bring him up? He's the victim, you know.
Yes, I know that. But it's just his style, isn't it?
He wasn't just the victim. Maybe.
Huh?
Not just the victim? What does that mean?
He was the victim. And he was the perpetrator, too. Maybe.
Are you saying this was a suicide? Don't be stupid.
I mean, it's not something I want to rule out just yet.
His body was covered in torture wounds. Or did you already forget?
Okay, what about... This is gonna sound crazy. It's gonna sound completely mental. He stabbed himself a bunch of times in the leg and arm. That rope that was burned off ages ago. That allows his right hand to be free to do all this stuff. And then he throws the spear up over the girder or rafter and it impales him. Does that seem right to you? That's the only explanation I can think of the rope being burned. It allows his hand to be free. But I don't know how he stabbed that knife into his hand. Unless he reached over, but I don't know how much slack that rope has on his left arm, right?
Are you saying those were all self-inflicted?
But Nagito might do something like that, don't you think?
He's just that cuckoo.
That's not the issue. He was tied up, remember? Even for a creep like Nagito, it'd be impossible for him to tie up his own arms and legs.
Not if he had that one hand free, because the rope was burned.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh god, no, we can't discount this just yet, guys.
Yeah, as long as you understand.
It seems we need to discuss how Nagito was able to tie himself up.
Okay, so we're going along this line of thinking, straight onto it, I see.
Need to discuss?
Yeah.
That's not necessary at all. No matter how much you think about it, it's clearly impossible.
Like you said, it seems impossible if you think about it, but I feel like I'm overlooking something. Yes. I think that's it, because there's no way that fire would have reached the rope and didn't even burn his sleeve. Let's go with the burned rope.
To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tying just the legs is one thing, but... tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm.
It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
So
How
someone
about
helped
if
him?
you use your teeth? Or if you use your front tail?
Front tail, god.
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke?
Not now! If our assumption that Nagito committed suicide is correct, Nagito should have tied himself up too. That's okay, right?
To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Oops. Damn it, I don't
Tying
have
just the
time
legs
to
is one thing,
make
but...
mistakes with the silencer.
tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm.
It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
Ah, shit. Is there a way to tie your arms and legs by yourself? If so, I'd like you to explain it to me. Try demonstrating it right now, you dumbass. No, I've made a mistake. I need to think it over one more time.
To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible!
Tie up your own arms and legs.
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
Let's try a truth flashback here.
You couldn't do much with the free arm.
It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
How about if you use your teeth?
Well, what else do I have?
Or if you use your front tail?
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke?
Hang on. Burned rope. The rope that was tied to Nagito's right arm burned off. However, Nagito's right sleeve still looked clean.
To actually tie up your own No, that's wrong!
It's always the wrong statement that I shoot.
Hold on a sec. Isn't that premise flawed?
I only figured it out it was this one because there was so much white noise blocking it, it had to be the one.
What? I mean, it's no mistake that his arms and legs
We're
were...
assuming that they were all tied up, but what if one wasn't tied up properly?
No, it shouldn't have been both of his arms. The rope on his right arm was completely burnt up. Based on that, you can't say he was tied up.
That was just burned by the fire. He should have been tied up before then.
It burned because of the fire. Like you said, it might look like that.
But what if it was burned before then?
But that was part of the trap. There's concrete evidence that proves it.
Proof that the burnt rope on Nagito's right arm is a trap. His right sleeve.
I see!
Untouched.
Take a close look at his right sleeve. Even though the rope was burnt up, his sleeve wasn't burned at all. Wouldn't you agree? A burn like this, no matter how you think about it, is unnatural. That rope was burned in advance so it would look like it was burned in the fire.
But why has he planned all of this?
Then Nagito's right arm wasn't tied up, right? He was able to move it freely, right?
Yes, that has to be it.
Yeah, that should be the case.
Hajime, that's awesome! I'll let you cop a feel if you want.
Maybe later. I kinda got a thing with Chiaki right now.
Akane, you should not give it away for free. Make sure they pay you first.
Is that what you do in your kingdom, Sonia? Oh god, now Kazuichi's gonna try and find $1 million.
That's definitely wrong.
Fine. I just gotta get a Benjamin from him before I let him touch me, right?
That's not what I meant. I'm talking about Nagito. I mean, even if his right hand wasn't tied up, the knife was still stabbed into it, you know.
Exactly.
It's impossible to stab a knife into your right hand with your right hand. Ah, that much is obvious.
Hajime, you tricked me! Give me back that Benjamin!
I didn't even have any Benjamins. I didn't even have any Lincolns. Not only did she try to charge me, now she wants the money back? What the heck?
Hold on. There should be a way.
Then hurry up and spill it.
Oh, sure. Let me just bluff my way out of this one too while I'm at it.
If it's something lame, I'll make you give back the Benjamin with 10,000% interest!
10,000% interest? A way to stab yourself in the right hand using only your right hand? It's okay. There's definitely an answer for this. Yeah, totally. Let me just think of that while we debate this. Guys, thank you. Take your time. I'm just gonna work through my theories.
Even if Nagito's right hand was free, how could he stab his right hand with his right hand?
Obviously, he didn't use his
If he
right
threw
hand
the
to
knife
stab.
into the air
Stab
and let
his
the
right-
knife fall, could he stab his hand that way?
Yes, but
Is he a throwing knife expert?
it would be very inaccurate.
Maybe he propped the knife somehow? And slammed his right hand down on it?
Ooh.
Propped it onto what?
If he just propped the knife, he could have used his bound left hand.
If you're tied up, your arms won't bend that easily. We don't know if his left hand could even reach his right hand.
Exactly. I don't have the knowledge of the slack of that rope. If Nagito could only use his right hand to stab himself in the palm, then how did he do it?
Even if Nagito's right hand was free, how could he stab his right hand with his right hand?
The plushie?
If he threw the knife into the air and let the knife fall,
He must have propped it using the plushie. A life-size Monokuma plushie that was found on the floor near the fire's origin point. It has a huge bloody hole in its stomach, as if it was stabbed.
Could he stab his hand that way?
Is he a throwing knife expert?
Maybe he propped the knife some...
I agree with that.
Thanks, Jackie. Okay.
The life-sized Monokuma plushie. He must have used that to prop the knife.
Come on, let's keep this going. Let's keep this momentum.
Makes sense. That's why there was a big hole in the plushie's stomach. He inserted the knife handle into that hole to prop it up. Then he slammed his hand onto it.
God, the madman.
If that's it, he had to place the plushie near him. And it also explains the mysterious blood on the plushie.
So the blood on the plushie came from Nagito after he stabbed the knife into his own right hand.
He probably just like shoved it away.
I see. So that's the trick.
But for a moment, I seriously thought Monokuma died or something.
A bleeding plushie is super scary. It's got the same fear factor as a doll whose hair grows too long.
That's a good point, Monokuma.
After stabbing his hand, he no longer needed the plushie, so he cast it off toward the fire's origin point.
He probably thought the fire would incinerate it and destroy the evidence.
So what do you think now, Fuyuhiko?
I mean, it's cool and all that we've debated how he did it, but we need to know why.
I get what you're saying about the wound on his right hand, but there's still one huge problem. The spear. Basically, you're saying Nagito committed suicide by impaling himself with a spear, right?
Yeah.
If you think about the order, getting killed by the spear should have been the last thing to happen to Nagito. If that's true, how is that possible?
That's what was slung over the rafters.
He
Or the
can't
girdle.
grab a spear with his right hand if a knife is stabbed into it and his left hand was all tied up.
All he had to do was let go of the cord and let the spear fall onto him.
Then, he probably took the spear first, and as he endured the pain, he stabbed the knife into his right hand.
There is a limit to his constitution.
I mean, he's not Superman.
If you got penetrated by something so big and thick, you would die instantly.
Kazuichi, now is not the time to comment on that.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch all that.
Like I said, if you got penetrated by something so big and thick, you would die instantly.
Say it one more time. I need to record it. For reasons.
Hey, bastard, you better cut it out!
Fuyuhiko, please. Don't
Like
cut
he
him up.
said, in that condition, it's very difficult to stab yourself with a spear. It'd be hard to use a spear with a knife stab into your right hand, while your left hand is tied up.
Exactly, it's too much, even for him.
So you're saying it's impossible?
Nope.
But no matter what I think, I can't believe Nagito's death was caused by someone else.
No one else would be this vicious. Of everyone left, no one would do this much damage to him.
I also agree with that.
Unless some of you guys have a split personality, which I highly doubt at this point.
To think that one of us could kill someone with such cruelty, I could never believe that.
Yeah, no, I can't.
You say you can't believe it? You just don't want to believe it, right?
That's true too. But surely no one left would do such a thing to someone.
But that's why you keep getting betrayed over and over again, right? Same goes for this time, too.
No, there has to be a limit.
You just shut your mouth. It's against the rules to interfere with everyone.
You tell him, Monomi.
If you even think about doing anything, I have a plan of my own.
Monomi's sassing me.
It's about damn time.
But it's just as Monokuma said. We've been betrayed over and over again so far, so... This might also be the same. Calling this a suicide takes too much for granted, and it's too convenient.
But can you offer an alternative explanation at this point?
Then are you saying there is a killer among us, Kazuichi?
Of course that doesn't include Miss Sonia and me.
As Kazuichi said, it's true we've been constantly betrayed. But even if I'm betrayed again, I still want to believe in everyone. No matter how many times I may be betrayed, I still want to believe in everyone.
It's an honorable outlook, Chiaki. It's hard, of course, to follow that sort of line of thinking.
I also want to believe that there's no killer, but suicide is unimaginable.
Do you really think so?
But you said it too. It'd be impossible for him to stab himself with a spear in his condition.
Are we going to need to do a logic dive here?
I did say difficult, but I never said impossible.
Gosh, he's awesome. Huh?
I feel that there's some way he could have stabbed himself with that spear.
It's a special spear, after all.
What kind of way?
I don't know.
You don't know.
It's impossible to figure out by myself. So let's think about it together. That's how. We made it this far up till now.
Alright, everyone, put your heads together.
Everyone working together.
She's right. We've made it through several ordeals up till now by doing that. Then, even now.
All right, let's do this.
Let's logic dive together, guys. Okay, well, we'll debate it. But that'd be funny if we all, like, did a logic dive down Hajime's narrow thought process. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
How did Nagito stab himself with a spear? Let's work together and think this through.
When the spear stabbed Nagito, his right hand was covered by the knife, right?
Yes.
He was only able to move his left hand.
But his left hand was also tied up.
Then that rules out his left hand.
No, it doesn't.
If that's the case, the only other way is...
He used his teeth?
What's with his
Or
teeth?
maybe he used his front tail.
Or his front tail?
I know guys have tails that get hard when they're grabbed.
Stop talking about front
What are you
tails!
saying?
My god.
A blushing Miss Sonia is freaking awesome!
No, heads together! If Nagito committed suicide, then he must have used that spear to stab himself. Even if his arms and legs were tied up, there's no doubt he used some part of his body. The only thing he could have used is his left hand.
How did Nagito stab himself
was
with a
gripping the
spear?
cord.
Let's work together and think this through. When the spear stabbed, his right hand was...
He was only able to, but his left hand was also tied up.
Then that rules out his left hand.
No, that's wrong.
He let go, and the spear fell down onto him.
Hold on. It's still too early to dismiss the possibility that he used his left hand.
Why? I mean, his left hand was tied up, you know?
And his front tail was zipped up nicely, I'm sure.
But there was something off about his left hand. The bloodstain on the palm of his hand. Don't you think it looked somewhat strange?
Like it was shielded as well, like he was holding on to something the entire time he was getting stabbed.
He only had blood on the lower area of his palm. Beyond that point, the bloodstain suddenly cuts off, right?
When the blood splattered, that's as far as it reached, right?
That settles the description of that bloodstain. But it's not the only unnatural bloodstain.
It's also above his knuckles.
Look, there's blood on the back of his hand. Around the middle joints of his fingers.
Sorry, higher even than his knuckles, it's his middle joints.
Like you said, it looks like an unnatural bloodstain, but what's wrong with that?
We might need to think and use our imaginations for a bit.
Picture it.
If there's blood on his palm and the back of his hand, what was his left hand doing as the blood splattered?
It was being shielded by something because he was holding something. What was Nagito's left hand doing when the blood splattered?
I see!
When the blood splattered, he was probably gripping with his left hand. That's why there's such a strange-looking bloodstain on his palm and the back of his hand.
Was he grabbing his front tail?
Stop! Okay, Kazuichi's gonna go completely psycho in a minute.
Perish the thought! He was obviously grabbing the spear!
And that's not a euphemism for his front tail.
Now that you mention it, compared to the rest of his body, the wounds on his left arm are pretty mild.
Because he needed that arm. He couldn't let go of what he was holding.
He probably made his wounds mild on purpose, so he could keep his strength while he gripped the spear.
And look at the position of the cord. It's right next to his arm.
But even if he held the spear with his tied-up left hand, it'd be impossible for him to stab himself.
That's right, that's the problem.
Hey, Chiaki, what do you think?
Can't ask Nagito anymore, so we have to ask Chiaki.
Hey, don't tell me you're getting sleepy.
No, she's thinking, dude.
At times like this, you should always strike from a good angle. Just like fixing an old TV.
Oh, I got it. Maybe.
confidence, Chiaki. You need it.
Really?
Yeah, like I thought. It's no mistake that Nagito was gripping the spear. I think.
It's no mistake, I think.
However, what's important is what section of the spear he was gripping.
Which section of the spear he was holding onto?
I see!
Cord.
That's it. Instead of the handle, Nagito must have been holding on to the cord. There was a metal weight at the tip of the cord, but there were bloodstains on that part too. Plus, the joint between the weight and the cord had a bloodstain shaped like it was cut off by something.
Isn't the size of that cut-off section about the same size as a human fist?
Exactly.
Ah, you're right. So this is the part Nagito was gripping, huh?
Yeah.
And then the blood that was supposed to end up here
Ended up on his hand.
ended up getting on Nagito's left hand.
But why is it so important to know which part of the spear he was gripping?
Because that's how he managed to stab himself with the spear.
You're not gonna say he gripped the tip of the cord, swung the spear around, and stabbed himself, right?
Well, kinda.
That is where the clue to solve this mystery resides. Right, Chiaki? I am sorry. Of course this mystery will not be solved that easily.
But if we work together... Nagito was gripping the cord, extending from the butt of the spear with his left hand. But from there, how would he stab himself in the stomach with the spear?
It seems we are stuck. Shall we have tea time?
I don't think Monokuma's going to allow a recess so soon.
At a time like this, how about we stick to the plan to think one step at a time instead of expecting the answers all at once?
I hate that plan, because it's not...
That's a long plan name.
One step at a time. What does that mean?
You always just want the answers straight away, but it's a good plan. I just hate it, but it's a good plan.
Let's focus on the spear first. Namely, where it was and how it was positioned just before it impaled Nagito.
How it was positioned.
It had to be dangling above him. Nagito was facing up, and the spear was stabbed through his stomach. So if it's just before that... That's it. Could it be? The state of the spear, and the fact that Nagito was holding the tip of the cord attachment. If I put those together and think about it, I should be able to figure it out. Where the spear was, and what state it was in, before it stabbed Nagito.